All right, welcome everybody to another episode of the Spirit of Grayskull Podcast. Joining me today, as usual, we have Adam and Ben.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, guys.
And we are once again missing Yuka today. He had some other things come up, so he won't be able to join us today. But we'll see him again another time. But today we just wanted to talk briefly and kind of get together and talk about the recent Mattel Creations Revealed event that happened. What date was that? The 19th, March 19th. We just kind of wanted to go over all the reveals that they showcased. Before we jump into the actual reveals, one thing that I thought was cool is that it was very, even though this isn't a MOTU event, like I think some people have in the past have thought that this was supposed to be just a Masters of the Universe event. It's not. This is a Mattel event for all of their brands. So it's Hot Wheels, it's Barbie, it's Monster High, it's Uno, it's whatever brands that Mattel owns and makes toys for. This is a big annual event for all of those brands, of which Masters of the Universe falls under. So last year's show, they only did one reveal, and that was Hero from the Powers of Grayskull. They revealed him. This year, though, we actually had multiple items, and I think Masters of the Universe kind of led. It was kind of the main focus of this, even though they were doing different things. There was a lot of Masters of the Universe content, even with some collaborations and stuff that they announced. So I think that's obviously just because it's a movie year. They're focusing on the He-Man movie that's coming up in June. But it's still fun to see. It's still fun to see a lot of that focus being on the stuff that we love. So, I guess just before we get into showing off the individual reveals, what did you guys kind of think of the show itself?
The show is interesting. I'm excited just because I'm like anticipating the news. Like, okay, what are they going to show? What are they going to show? I feel like it's a little bit like, I don't know. They're trying real hard to make it like super exciting. Sometimes it goes like, okay, you're trying too hard.
Yeah.
But I appreciate the effort.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, we definitely got some unique items that, showcased this year. So it'd be fun to talk about some of these things here in a few minutes. Some different things that are not everybody's cup of tea, but I think that Mattel's really working to try to reach multiple audiences to bring a lot of people into this fold, which, ultimately I think is good for the MOTU universe.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think MOTU is one of those things. It's always been kind of a very niche type of brand over the years. Even, back in the 80s when it was selling, making tons and tons of money during those first few years when the toys released, it was kind of a lightning in a bottle moment for Mattel. But it's one of those brands that never really reached mass. I correct me if I'm wrong, but it never kind of reached the same level as like, Star Wars or, like what Batman does, or even Ninja Turtles, how much they kind of took over the space, the pop culture space.
I think they were similar, but for a short time. It's like they had that moment where they were like they were like $1 billion brand, but then they very suddenly crashed, and they did not successfully relaunch like Turtles did or Star Wars did. They had like little, the big peak, and then like little attempts to reboot, and I think this up until recently, like now it's starting to become more of a permanent pop culture thing where it's not going away for periods of time. So that it now is its kind of renaissance, I think.
Yeah,
I kind of agree with you on that, Adam. You look at like Masters and the 80s, from what I guess 80, let's call it 83. I know they came out in 81, but really 83 is when you start seeing the boom in the catalogs, all the advertisements, the pieces, the displays. Everybody knows He-Man at that point. And then it drops off basically the end of 87. They did that soft reboot of the New Adventures in 90 or 89, 90. Didn't really take off. They had some cool concepts, cool characters, but, the sculpts were bad. People were kind of moving on. Turtles from 87 on really just took the showcase, and they've never gone anywhere. How many times have you been to Walmart over the last 25 or 30 years, and there's always something Ninja Turtles related, where He-Man unfortunately didn't have that showcase shelf life presence all these years. The 2000X series, the 200X series was an awesome reboot, and it really did a good job. But where they failed at the end was all the repaints. Then all of a sudden, the Four Horsemen, I think, maybe lost part of the licensing agreement, and they had to do the action figures instead of the action figures. And then you kind of had the lull until the classics took over. But classics, that was back when it was Matty Mates or something like that.
Yeah.
And you had to be part of the club. So if you didn't get them unless you bought them at a toy shop or a collectible shop, unless you were part of the club.
Well, it was an online toy line.
It really was.
Online. It wasn't at retail, except for very specific instances, like with the 2-packs they did with DC Universe.
Yeah, which was a Toys R Us thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or they cleared some of them out at like Big Lots.
Yeah.
But that's not a great thing.
Yeah, and that was the tough part with the classics for a lot of people is at the time, if I'm recalling correctly, they were like $30 a pop. Mm-hmm. So if you
I think they were closer to like 20 when it first started. It was like 20 to 25.
Okay.
With like shipping and stuff, it would equal out to closer to like 30, 35 40 sometimes.
Yeah.
Just depending on where it was shipping to. But it was
I got a ton of classics, but I have all the weird characters. I don't have any of the core characters. I have maybe one or two core characters. It's like, and now you try to go back and buy them retro, and it's like, holy crap, they want $500 for a Beastman or something crazy. Yeah. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
The aftermarket has dropped considerably over the past couple of years for classics, but they're still up there. I'm not saying they're inexpensive now, but it has dropped from even a few years ago when they were still kind of astronomically high.
Just like a side note, like I was thinking about this the other day, and I want to do like an article about this, but like the Four Horsemen have been the most influential force for He-Man like since 2000. Because they created 2000X, they sculpted the original figures, not like the vehicles or the playsets or the repaints, but they did that. They created MOTU Classics, like they pitched the idea to Mattel. They sculpted all the figures. They sculpted all the first 2 or 3 years of Origins too. Like I don't know if they created the idea for the line. I want to find that out, but they. Yeah, and then like Masterverse, like all the other stuff, it's not, they didn't do it, but they there's little nods to things that they have done, or like Mondo 2000X stuff. There's a lot of 2000X in Mondo. So like if you look at like just who's been the most influential since this century, it's the Four Horsemen for Masters.
I agree with that 100%. And I'll tell you what though, too, just real quick. I guess when did Origins start coming out? 19, middle of 19.
Yeah. I think 2019.
There was the Comic-Con exclusive 2-pack. Or 4-pack? It had the blue Prince Adam, the blue vest, the tunic, or whatever. And then they started coming out. I caught them at the Christmas time 2019 is when I first saw the first wave on the shelves. Look how many different versions of the toy lines we've had in 7 years, 6.5, 7 years. There's been, the Origins, the Masterverse, the 20 sublines of Masterverse. You've had the CGI, you've had the Super 7, you've had the Mondo stuff, you have the new toy movies for the Chronicles in the first one, or whatever we were calling them. I can't remember now. But all the different lines. And then you have all these crossovers, the Turtles, the WWE, the Thundercats, now Transformers. It's amazing. I think we have a bigger spread now and more representation than we've ever had, even in the 80s.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Unless
you're talking vehicles.
Right. Well, yeah, not vehicles, but yeah, characters overall.
Yeah.
We still need that battle ram vehicle for Origins.
We need a lot of vehicles. We need battle bones. We need
I think that's my most wanted toy for Origins. I guess like for the vintage stuff. I want to see the battle ram vehicle, and I want the dinosaurs from the end of the vintage.
Yeah, those dinosaurs, that'd be great to do because they're not affordable vintage. So if they could do something very similar looking, that'd be great for a lot of fans.
Yeah, they really could.
For Christmas when we were kids, my brother and I got the Tyrannosaurus Rex and the Bionatops for Christmas one year. And I just remember playing with that thing so much. And I remember how fragile the T-Rex especially was, how easy it was to break. I broke it so many times. My dad would have to like glue pieces back together. And
Wow.
I wish I still had that stuff, but it'd probably be dust by now with how fragile they are.
Yeah, was it just really poor quality plastic, or what was the deal on it?
It was like hollow plastic. It didn't have like a lot of bulk to it, and it was just really brittle. It just broke easy.
Yeah.
So it was just one of those things. But yeah, if they brought those back for Origins now, I'd be very happy.
Those ones and the Giants. Let's get those two.
Yeah.
Those are the worst to try to get. Like you gotta like sell your car to buy titles.
Yeah. But yeah, so I like what you said there. I like what we're seeing with He-Man stuff now, and I know a lot of people online kind of voice their displeasure with all the crossovers coming out and stuff because we're not seeing the vintage line finished up as quickly as a lot of people would like, and I agree with that, but I also really like seeing a lot of He-Man on the shelf and a lot of just its prevalence of where it's at today. Like you said, we have more now than we did even in the 80s, and it is a true renaissance for He-Man stuff. And I think the past couple of years, my favorite thing that they've done has been the Turtles of Grayskull crossover toys, and they did like 4 or 5 waves of those. I think it was pretty successful for Mattel. I think they tried to recapture that with Thundercats and Transformers, and it just didn't quite take off like it did. But I think that's also due to the fact of how strong the Turtles brand is,
Right.
But those are my two favorite, He-Man and Turtles are my two favorite toy franchises, and so it's like a dream come true. So,
yeah, I agree with you. That's what I've collected over the last 6 years too, was mostly the Turtles and the He-Man stuff. I've got just about every Turtle thing out there. And I was never really a Turtle guy as a kid, but my brother had all of them, and I'm sure they got all pitched in a garage sale at some point. I mean, I kept all my stuff. My brother got rid of everything, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I always like, hey, do you still have a box of those? He goes, no, not anymore, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So, why don't we go ahead and hop into the actual revealed stuff, and we'll talk about that, and then we can kind of wrap things up with our final thoughts on things. Does that sound good?
Cool. Yeah, absolutely.
Here we go. So I'm going to throw these slides up on screen. So the Mattel Creations Revealed. For anybody that doesn't know what that is, it's an annual online event for Mattel brands, like I was saying at the top of the show. But they just reveal what new product for all of their brands, and this year they had a lot of He-Man stuff. I think this is the 3rd year that they've done it, so it's still a fairly new thing that they're doing. And this year was fun because we got Pixel Dan to be there to reveal the He-Man stuff. Well, one of the He-Man things, so that was pretty fun.
That's cool.
So here we have Pixel Dan here showing off a few items from his collection that he brought. He brought his Fists of Fury He-Man, the original Big Jim Tiger that the mold was reused for Battle Cat or Cringer Battle Cat, and then what else did he have? He had the cassette tape, the German cassette audio tape.
Yeah, for the Anti-Eternia He-Man.
That's right.
Story. And then he had Flying Fists He-Man from his childhood.
Yeah, which was pretty cool. One side note, I did notice during the show, they didn't highlight them and all, but a lot of the stuff that they have on display there, the swords that they have hanging up, they have a silver He-Man sword here, right above Dan's stuff, but then kind of there behind him, there's a purple sword hanging on the wall, Skeletor's sword, and that's they look like they're based on the Revelation design for the swords for He-Man's sword, and I wonder, I've never seen those at retail. I wonder if that's something that we might get at some point. Like,
that would be cool.
That would be kind of cool because I like those designs.
Yeah, they are pretty neat looking.
Yeah, I've just never seen those like life-size scale versions of these specific weapons. We've seen the factory entertainment one, we've seen the movie one that has been being made by a third party people. We've seen those floating around, and obviously we talked last episode about the role play items that Mattel themselves are making for the movie. But I like swords and stuff, so I thought that was cool. I thought it'd be fun if we ever could get those. But yeah, so here is and what's his actual name, Adam? Laser Power?
Laser Power He-Man. Yep.
Okay. I think was it in the classics where they kind of renamed it? It was Laser Light.
No, Skeletor is Laser Light. Yeah.
Okay.
So Laser Light, Skeletor, Laser Power He-Man. He didn't get renamed.
Okay. Cool. I do have the classics versions of those toys somewhere on my shelf. They're pretty cool.
I do as well. Yeah.
That was
my battery's still going. It's like 10 years old.
Yeah, mine too. I haven't had to change the batteries yet.
This I absolutely love. I think this character is a home run. I love the sculpt. I love the vintage feel to it. It was a perfect Origins drop. I want the Skeletor just as bad as the He-Man. I'm glad it wasn't a double pack. My wallet can only take so much in 1 week. But this thing is, I love this thing. This is so cool.
It was very cool, and I think I can't imagine any He-Man fan being disappointed with this reveal. I think this was a home run.
Yeah, this was definitely a home run.
I don't collect that many Origins, but I 100% I'm in for any of the 88 stuff. So this guy, Laser Light Skeletor, the Giants, I'll get him.
Yeah.
And I know they talked about it during the show, but Adam, can you kind of tell us a little bit of the history of these specific figures and why they are so special?
I can. There's actually some slides, though. If we go forward, there's some slides of some of the vintage, like prototype. And, at one point they showed it with the actual vintage side by side, like the 88.
That's so cool.
But then I think the next one, So these are the prototypes. So they were put out specifically for Europe because in the U.S. Masters had died out in '87. But typically the schedule for Europe was a year behind, or sometimes 2 years, depending on the country. But so they knew, well, okay, let's do a special couple of figures for Europe just because we can. There's one more year left because they haven't got the last wave of the figures anyway. The Laser Power He-Man, though, is a little special because he came out of, as part of his concept design, came out of this idea for a Masters TV show, like a live action TV show they were going to do. And part of the theme for that show was they would be fighting over these power crystals that would power all of their vehicles and gear. So it's kind of somebody compared it to like Bravestar, like the Carium mineral in Bravestar, kind of like that.
Interesting.
So in this prototype of He-Man, which is a bit different from the actual one that they made, but like he's got this green crystal in his backpack, which is, I think, supposed to be powering up his light sword.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And there's a couple of close-ups right after this.
Okay.
And I think I've seen that green crystal thing that you've mentioned before, and maybe it's from your blog, Adam. I don't remember, but I've seen this floating around before at one point.
So it's this green angular looking thing right behind his head, right?
Yeah, that's supposed to be a crystal. Probably would have been like translucent if they'd actually, gone to production on that piece.
Now
go ahead.
I was just going to say this is a prototype figure, right? This isn't the final figure.
Yes.
Because I noticed, especially in this back one, the sword, it almost looks like it just kind of plugs into his hand with like a peg.
Yeah, what I think it's a little bit kit bashy because I think what he's got there are the Rio Blast hands, which have been kind of just glued onto the regular He-Man arms and kind of with some clay to smooth things over. It's not like a final. It's not like ready to go. And I think the belt is supposed to be like the button that activates the light. The way they've done it here. They changed the look of his harness too. It's more of a traditional like X-shaped harness on the final. So it's a little rough.
That's interesting. Okay, so
I like the concept of it though. I think it looks cool. I like that actually. The H on that chest, the logo. Probably a little bit better than what we actually end up getting.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. It kind of fits that late 80s theme, the block text and kind of futuristic into the 90s kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then the final toy is basically what we're getting here with the Origins.
Correct.
With that,
yeah.
Kind of that bulkier wired laser sword.
Yeah, which
everything.
Some people have compared to like the proton packs, just because it like he's got this big backpack and it's got the
stores on the
wire.
side.
Yeah.
That
kind of looks like it.
Like a proton pack. That's kind of funny.
It's big enough. So are we putting double A's in that thing, or what's powering that bad boy? Do we know yet?
I think it's just
battery.
Like a cell battery, like a watch battery type thing.
Gotcha.
We before we started recording, we were talking about people who make customs. I feel like I saw recently that somebody had made a Ghostbusters style.
Oh, I bet that was Joe Amato. Maybe
that's what it was.
He does like
something
mashups.
like that. Yeah, it was kind of cool. But yeah, it was. I think it was based on this power, or this laser power He-Man backpack stuff that I think it into a more of a proton pack.
Yeah. On the actual figure, the wires are just kind of like a red and black, like kind of less disguised wire, but it runs through his armor, which is why he has that armor on his arm. So it's supposed to be kind of hidden, but they're like classics. They're not doing it that way here.
Yeah. And those classics figures, that the armor for his arm, for me at least, is notoriously hard to keep on his arm. It's always
it's a bit
you gotta have it just right.
Yeah, I think this version has straps for both pieces on the armor, so it should hopefully stay on better.
Yeah, right there.
Straps.
I like that. Cool. Yeah, the classics one, it was just kind of a clip-on type of mechanism that didn't work very well. So yeah, I think this is easily the standout of the show for He-Man fans. And we'll get into the other stuff later, but yeah.
It looks to me like I couldn't tell, like, is the face is still the main toy face that they've been using for Origins? They've just given them different hair, is that right?
It almost kind of looks like,
I don't know if
the zoomed in, like the head that came with the let me grab it off my shelf real quick so I can compare easier, but it almost looks like the head that came with the first 2000X version Origins figure. Not the cartoon collection, but the original one that
from the Origins side, from like 20.
Yeah. It almost
22 or something.
It almost looks like that head. Let me enlarge my screen, see what you guys think. I don't know. Can you guys see that
I would say that's very close.
That's kind of what it reminds me of, but I'm not sure. It could be more of maybe it's just the hair that's throwing me off.
Yeah. Well,
but it does I don't know, it does look like it looks a little different than the standard He-Man head.
Sorry, hold on. I think I've lost my my audio. Hold on. Slight technical glitch. All right, could you say something?
Can you hear us, Adam?
No. Let me see if I can do audio. All right. I don't know if you can hear me okay without a mic.
We can hear you. You're a little quiet.
Okay.
But we can still hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. We'll do our best without my headphones.
Okay. But yeah, I think it is slightly different than the standard Origins He-Man head. But I think it looks more like in the same way that the vintage laser power He-Man head looks a little different. I think they modified it just a little bit, but it's hard to tell from pictures.
Yeah, I think it's a good looking sculpt though.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, pretty happy. And obviously the packaging art by Axel is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that you can see, and I'm sure we'll talk about this later, but you can see like Megator's mace, like the chain flail thing that he's got.
Oh yeah,
hanging out of the tower.
That's cool. So, a little hint at what might be coming. Okay. All right, so let's move on to this. This was another reveal that they did. This was for the it's the Mattel Brick Shop is what they're calling it now. Is that correct? It's not Mega Blocks anymore?
Yeah.
Or Mega Constructs?
Yeah, I believe it was the Brick Shop.
So this is a Masters of the Universe movie playset for Castle Grayskull. And I think it looks pretty cool. I will say I'm not a big fan of the new little minifigures that they have.
Yeah.
With these, what were they called, Adam? They're called like nano figures.
I saw something early on. Somebody posted nano figures like a news site, but then I think what they sent you was micro world figures.
Yeah. And they just kind of look like little. They're not articulated. They look like little. They remind me of the little green plastic army men, but like smaller.
Yeah, it seems like this is really, really small scale. Like, which is why I think it's only 65 instead of like 200.
Right.
Is it forgive me, you said Mega Constructs were the original ones. That's where we had the Grayskull Castle, the Snake Mountain, the miniature version of Attorney, a tower. Is this basically the same concept? It just rebrand or reshaping a little bit?
I think it's the same type of toy in terms of, not Lego, but whatever they call their brick toys, the building bricks. I would imagine it's the same type of technology that they used for those previous sets, but it's just I just don't think it's called Mega Constructs anymore, and I might be completely wrong on that, but I just don't see that branding listed anymore.
Yeah, I don't think so, but yeah, I'm sure it's the same basic, brick, but it does look quite small.
Yeah.
So from that picture, would they go back one picture, Cole, with the gentleman in the picture? You can really see how much smaller that is compared to like the other brick castles that we've gotten. I mean, it is cool. I like the look of Grayskull. It kind of feels like it's just the front shell, though. It doesn't look like there's anything more to it than that, other than the little tiny micro figures.
In the product details, it said that like the towers can like rotate to show what's going on inside, like little battle scenes going on inside.
Okay.
Aside from that, it's just the facade of the castle. It's not a fully realized castle like the previous Castle Grayskull set was. But to Adam's point, that's why the price point is so much lower. It's not a $300 set like the Castle Grayskull one was.
I know when I posted this, I got a lot of kind of like negative comments, like people like didn't like the look of it. They definitely didn't like the little micro figures. But I could see this selling okay as like a gift. Like, okay, I know this guy who likes He-Man. This is the movie Castle Grayskull. Yes. It's affordable. I'm going to get this for a present for him.
It's one of those things where like, I don't have a lot of the previous. I don't have any of the previous sets. I do have the. They had a SDCC exclusive where it was a transforming Prince Adam to He-Man Mega Construct set with a little castle facade.
It would rotate and it would be He-Man on one side and then Prince Adam on the other. It was just basically a shell like a facade too, and then you just had the door and you twisted it. That was cool.
It was just very, very, very basic. So it's just the front of the castle, and then it's got a mechanism where you rotate it, and He-Man, flips inside, or Prince Adam flips inside to reveal He-Man. So it's like a little.
Cool.
Can you blow your screen up, Cole?
Mechanic. Yeah, let me blow it up, and I'll try to show off.
Just so we can see it better.
Here we go. So this was the packaging. It's really cool packaging. But then it opens up and it's got like art for the two towers. Which is really cool, but the actual toy itself is just this facade. But then it's got this little mechanism. Let me see if I can get it for you. That rotates, and it's always a little tight though. Can't get it to flip. Anyways, hold on. I've got ads popping up for some reason. I'm sorry. Okay. So then like you turn this dial here. It's not working very well, but it flips up. But like, yeah, so the idea is that like it's got Prince Adam there, and then you rotate it to reveal He-Man, like a transformation.
That's cool. Oh, cool.
So it's kind of, it's pretty cool. But like, this is a good example of how these minifigures used to look for the previous sets, you know, was they were basically articulated, you know, little kind of cool minifigures. And so I think compared to the new figures that come with this new set, for me anyways, I think that is a step back. But
yeah,
I would have preferred more the traditional looking way that they had done it before.
Well, and I noticed that with
it's the price point thing.
Yeah, price point I get, but if the Cringer on that, or Battle Cat, I don't know which version they have of him in that. I saw he almost looks like one of those old 80s kids woodblock toys. He's just very static and just
they look very waxy to me. Like they don't look like they have a lot of paint detail to them.
Or like a low poly render, like a digital.
Yeah. So I wonder, these might not be the final, you know, what they actually look like in hand. These might just be. They might.
I don't mind non-articulated, but if they were really well sculpted and looked realistic, I'd much prefer that.
Yeah.
Well, we've got an example of. They had some. I'm all over the place today. Sorry, guys. But they've got these. They released these a few years ago. These little static minifigures that actually had a lot of really good detail to them.
Yeah, those are good.
You know, so if they were closer to that, I'd definitely be okay with it. But just
those are the Dollar Tree things, I think.
Yeah, the Dollar Tree ones. But yeah, just based on what these images are showing us, I'm not too impressed by them. And it's one of those things where like I don't think I'd like actively seek this set out to buy for myself. But if I saw it on a shelf somewhere, I'd probably throw it in the cart.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy this for myself. I bet somebody will get it for me though. I can see this coming in Christmas or something.
Sure.
So I think the safest thing to do is for Christmas we each get one for each other, so we don't
there you go.
buy it for ourselves. But yeah, I like the idea. I like that they're focusing on the movie. It's another movie tie-in toy. I do think the transformation setup that they have I think that's pretty cool. Like the lightning.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, I like that too.
But yeah, as far as it being something that I need to have for my collection, you know, it's an easy pass for me. And yeah, I'm just not a fan of those figures, those minifigures.
Nope.
So moving on from that, I do like that Zor's there. That's cool.
Yeah, I just noticed that.
We have the Monster High Skeletor series featuring Skeletor. Now this is specifically a crossover collaboration product. I did see a lot of people complaining that it's a gender swapped Skeletor, which I think is silly considering, well, that's not what it is. It's a crossover toy. So it's a Skeletor themed doll in a very specific style. And they've done this before, you know, they did it with Beetlejuice, you know, but they're going to be female dolls based on these existing characters. But they're not necessarily, I hate even using the word. They're not gender swapping. It's just, you're taking it too seriously if you're getting mad about it.
That fact didn't even cross my mind about that. I mean, I get people's places and ideas, but To me, I just had figured it was just the doll version of what their version of what Skeletor would look like.
Exactly. I think it looks cool. It's not something that I would collect, but I can definitely see a lot of fans getting excited about this. I think the design elements to it are cool. I like the little snake wrapped around her leg. I think that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like that she doesn't have an actual like skull face. It's more like painted to look like Skeletor, like makeup.
Right.
I don't know. I think it looks pretty fun for what it is. And again, not something I'd probably buy, but I'm happy for people out there who do collect these things because this is cool.
Yeah. No, I think it's really well done. I like the colors on it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a Monster High collector. I wouldn't get this either, but I think it looks really cool.
And if I had a daughter or if my wife was into this kind of stuff, I'd absolutely get it for them.
Sure. Yeah, I like it. I think it's pretty cool. Obviously, it's not really geared towards guys like us or some of the fans in general, but there's plenty of people that will like this. You're also opening the door to people who are Monster High collectors. They go, hey, what's this? I've heard of Skeletor. Who's Skeletor? Let me see what this is. And then maybe it breaches them into another realm that they weren't prepared for. Or, they discover on their own. Not everybody knows all the character names that we do, in our any particular line. Like you said, I couldn't tell you any of the doll names of their line, but I know what it is when I see it.
Yes.
But it's cool that it's a collab, or a mashup. I'm not opposed to mashups at all. I think they're kind of a neat idea.
Well, and I think the very idea of a mashup or a collaboration, I think that speaks more to the strength of the brand that it's willing to expand outside of its normal product offerings,
Sure.
And I think if Masters of the Universe is willing to expand into these special little one-offs, I feel like that's a good sign of how strong the MOTU brand is during this time. Like we said, we are in this renaissance, so these expansions, I feel like that it's a sign of success, in my opinion.
Sure.
So, yeah, I think it looks cool. I like the colors. It's very vibrant and it definitely jumps off the page at you.
And I think it's a home run right out of the gate. I mean, again, not something I'm going to collect personally, but I think there's a lot of people are going to absolutely love this, and I think it's a home run.
Definitely. So that was the Monster High Skeletor product from the event, and it's Masters of the Universe themed, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now we get into this is an artist collaboration product, and what this is, they've done this in the past. They did it previously with, I believe the artist name was Virgil Abloh, and they released a few figures. I call them the chocolate figures because they look like they look like chocolate Easter bunnies, but like He-Man style. So, but they were the Masterverse Revelation versions of like He-Man, Skeletor, and Battle Cat, and Skelegod. It was those 4 figures, but they were in various. It was just very monochrome brown plastic, same exact figure that we got in Masterverse, just in this color scheme, where the pieces, where they were produced in this brown plastic.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't particularly like them. I didn't think they were very cool to look at. They're with that monochrome, it just kind of looked bland. But I know a lot of people liked them, and they sold well.
They sold out. I mean, you'll give them that. I would have rather just taken a can of brown Krylon and just spray painted those characters. It's the same thing as far as I was concerned.
Yeah. They did another one. I want to say the guy's name was Madaski. Does that sound right?
Yeah, that's right.
They were a larger scale, almost like a statue, and they were based on the vintage figures. They did He-Man and Skeletor, I think, and I think there was a Battle Cat in there.
Mm-hmm.
But it looked it was just very messily graffiti style painted.
Yeah, it looked like it got.
That's the graffiti one, yeah.
And it was okay. Again, not something for me, but I can see people enjoying stuff like that.
Didn't they do a gigantic, like 6-foot version of that Skeletor that was all the neon colors and the tagging spray paint?
Yeah,
and then they made
that
the
was the
little
same.
6-incher.
Yeah, and that was the same artist, and I think that big one was shown off at like an actual art show somewhere in LA or something like that, if I remember right.
Okay.
But so what these are the James Jean or James Jean, I'm not sure how he pronounced his name, but he's a Vietnamese artist.
Taiwanese, I think.
Taiwanese, that's it. Thank you.
Yep.
But yeah, he created these. It's a He-Man. It's two sets. It's a He-Man and Battle Cat 2-pack and a Skeletor and Panther 2-pack, and it's based on. I don't know if any of you watched the video of him talking about it, but he kind of talked about how it was kind of like reinterpreting these characters, the good versus evil concept as reflected in nature. And so with He-Man, we get it's the floor. It's I'm struggling on my words. Floral He-Man, where his armor and design is based on flowers. And he also talked a little bit about in the video. The artist talked about how he liked the concept of He-Man having armor made from jade, like jade stone.
Okay.
I think that this looks more blue. I wish it was a little more green if that was his intention to make it jade. I think maybe the green would make it look a little cooler to me. But as it is, I don't know. It's interesting.
So I know nothing about Taiwanese art other than I did a quick Google search. But I did see like some of the traditional art is very much trees and flowers. Like that's kind of a traditional theme. So I'm wondering if that's why, there's that influence too.
Yeah. It's cool. The original art, did you get a screenshot of the actual art?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. I think that looks really cool.
Yeah, I like that.
And that to me has a lot more red in it than even jade. I think that would have been neater if they had more of the red in it.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things for me personally, and this is just my opinion. I just don't think the art itself translated very well to the actual figure. I think the figure looks kind of over designed and messy. Like there's too much going on with it that it's kind of hard to focus on one thing.
Yeah, it's not very readable.
Yeah, but I think the art itself is much more interesting to look at. And this is just speaking for He-Man, because we'll get to Skeletor here in a minute, and I think Skeletor looks better than the He-Man does.
I think that these are okay. I don't think they're terrible by any means. I think the biggest thing is, we can talk about this after we were talking about Skeletor, but I think the price point is the killer on this.
Yeah.
I think you would sell a lot more of them if it was the price was cut in half.
I think so too. I think the cool thing about this is that we get different versions of the cats in these interesting color schemes. And part of me wants it for that aspect, just because it's unique. But then I look at it and I'm just like, I just can't see, I don't love it. And so it's hard to justify, what you said. It's hard to justify that price point for something that I don't.
That you don't really want. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of like this one. I find it visually very interesting to look at. Again, it's that price point thing. I wouldn't spend $100 on it, but I'd happily display one if I had one. But it's just, it doesn't really fit with anything in my collection. So I just from an artistic standpoint, it's interesting to me to look at.
I do like the Battle Cat coloring, the white stripes more. That kind of soft muted, almost like avocado green, or it's not even avocado. It's lighter than that. Even it's a lima bean green or something. It's cool. I like the cat. I do. I don't really like the armor. I just don't like any of the stuff, the accessories. I mean, if it was He-Man and Battle Cat in more of that muted style, maybe a little floral take to it, I think it'll be okay. But it's just like there's just weird plastic lotus flowers popping off his chest, and it makes no sense to me.
Yeah. I do like, I kind of like his butterfly axe. I think that's kind of a cool way to do an axe.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely, I saw this in a lot of the comments when we posted the story to the He-Man.org groups. He does look like a She-Ra character. I think that's kind of what a lot of people notice is.
Yeah.
It's like, this is He-Man after he married Perfuma. It's kind of funny.
This is what my wife lets me wear.
Yeah. My wife
good clothes. We're going out.
She said we had to match.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I had mixed thoughts about He-Man, but Skeletor, I think looks really cool. I think the hard, jagged lines of the coral, I think those elements work really well with Skeletor, and for the evil side of this good versus evil equation. I just think I think this one looks much better to me. I think it's easier to read. I don't think it doesn't look as messy as the floral He-Man.
Right.
And I like, when you zoom in on some of the stuff, like his Havoc staff, it almost looks like a squid.
It's like a kraken or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really cool. I think the colors work really well, but it does kind of have that Stranger Things vibe to it.
That's what I was gonna say. It looks like Stranger Things to me, more or less.
Yeah, it looks like some of those figures that they released for Stranger Things.
I like it too for that reason. I would have liked to have seen like a different color tone for the bodies of the figures, just because there's a lot of red there.
Yes.
Just
maybe like a black base.
Black
with
could
red
be
armor.
fine.
I think that would look good.
Something to break it up a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like Panther's headdress or helmet, if you will.
Yeah.
I like that coral branch coming off the forehead there. I think that looks pretty cool. I mean, it's a unique design. Skeletor is definitely, in my opinion, way more appealing than the He-Man is.
Yeah, I think so too. And again, I think the art for both of them, I have nothing bad to say about the actual art.
No.
I just think, especially with that He-Man, I think it just doesn't translate well to a 3D figure. But the art looks great. I think the art's beautiful. I agree
with you.
If they sold like prints of these art at a decent price, I would consider that actually.
Mm-hmm.
That would be kind of cool.
Well, and it definitely has a very Southeast Asia feel to it. That just a style of artwork that comes out of that part of the world. In traditional paintings and stuff from their cultures and stuff. I think it's really very cool artwork. I agree with you, Colt, on that 100%. That would be something I would definitely, if they get poster size, I would put those up on the wall.
Yeah. I know they're selling sticker sets, I believe. But I think it's just like, isn't it just like all the different faces that the guy
just
painted?
Like heads.
It's just a.
Nope, I think we lost him.
Uh-oh.
Adam, we lost you.
Well, we will keep going. Hopefully he comes back. But yeah, I think they made some they are selling some sticker sets.
Yeah.
Somewhere on the packaging.
Well, I noticed too, if you look inside the box, there's that same sticker print.
Yeah.
There's an image on Mattel Creations that has just the box separated where the character is sitting in front of the back of it. You can look inside the box. It's almost like decorated with wrapping paper on the inside of the box, and it has those sticker heads.
Yes, and I really like that. I think those
I do too.
Little illustrations are really cool. I'm looking it up right now to see if I can get a better picture of it for us so we can look.
Yeah, no worries. The thing that worries about me of this is, I would buy one of these if I had the extra expendable cash, but I don't like the price point. I really don't on this one. And I'm afraid it's going to be one of those things that will either sit there forever and then they will all get lucky to get it for half price, or they're going to sell out like wildfire and they'll be sold out in a day. And then, and so it's hard to tell. It's like, do you risk the money now, or do you roll the dice and wait?
And that's kind of where I'm at. But I also don't feel good about like spending that much money for something that I don't necessarily love,
Right.
just because it might be worth a lot of money sometime down the road.
Right.
There we go.
Yeah, so there you can kind of see it in there. There's the print inside the box there.
Yeah. Here's Adam. He's back. Let me add him.
Okay.
Sorry,
Welcome back.
my internet, my Wi-Fi went out for a second.
That's okay.
That's okay. What we were talking about, we were kind of talking about the sticker set, and I was trying to find a picture of what that looks like. And you can kind of see it on the inside of the box here, but it's those faces. So he did illustrated faces of a bunch of the other characters. So there's like Tila and Hordak and She-Ra. Trapjaw's in there. I see Merman. I really like his style. I really like his art style. I just don't love the figures.
Yeah, cool stuff.
Yeah. The sticker set, though, I think price point was like $50. And from what I gather, it looked like it was like 2 sheets of stickers. Which, come on, that's pretty awful pricey too.
It was a set of stickers and then a poster of the same art. There's
a poster. Okay.
Yeah.
A poster would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I didn't realize there was a poster. I thought it was just 2 sheets of stickers.
Whoops.
We keep losing them.
No, that was my fault. I hit the wrong remove button. I was trying to remove the picture and I removed Adam. Get out of here. There we go. Okay, so that's basically everything from the that was revealed. There was one more thing that we want to talk about. This was teased at the end of the Barbie presentation. And I don't think they said anything about it, but they just flashed this title card of a Masters of the Universe X Barbie collaboration of some coming up. I've reached out to my contacts at Mattel. I was telling this to Adam earlier. I've reached out to see if we can get some more information on this. I haven't heard anything back yet. But I'm curious to see what this is. I think it would be cool. Personally, I think it would be really cool if we got like a He-Man and Tila 2-pack in the Barbie and Ken dolls. I think that would be pretty cool. And I say that because I have a friend that I've in the fandom. Her name is Maria dos Lunas, and she does custom Barbie dolls in He-Man style.
Oh, cool.
I have a picture of it. Let me bring that up, of some of her customs, just to give people an idea of what I think would be kind of cool. Because she made some customs of Adam and Tila from Revelation that I thought were really neat. Let me just find the image real quick. So I think it's kind of one of those things that I would have expected to happen a long time before now, considering that Mattel owns both,
both brands and IPs,
and Barbie. I think I would have expected this kind of a collaboration earlier. But if they are actually doing something with it, I think that's really cool.
Oh, again, we know they've already kind of
specifically for me, but it's cool that they're doing it.
And we already know they've already done a little bit of crossover too. They did the She-Ra Barbie last year.
Yes.
Like I said, we talked before we got recording off camera. Those are cool. I like those.
So those are custom. So she made the clothes by hand, sewed everything, and what she envisioned it as was like a wedding day two-pack kind of thing. So
sure.
Tila's obviously like in a wedding dress, but she made the shoes, she made the clothes. I just think it's really well done. And
those are really well done.
So I just wanted to show those real quick.
Very cool.
Yeah, they could do a couple cool things with the Masters and crossover Barbie. They could do an Evil Lynn, they could do a Tila, they could do a Sorceress. They could really, we got enough girl characters that they really could do something. Even a Ken, you could have a Skeletor Ken even as well if you wanted to.
Yeah,
you could do a couple different cool things.
And Adam, you might be able to help me with this. I remember, I'll have to go when we're done talking. I'll have to go and see if I can find the screenshots. But from that, you posted an article earlier this week of the convention where they had some of these doll versions of the He-Man characters.
Yes. So that was 2018 San Diego Comic-Con. They had like a Catra, 12-inch Catra doll, a 12-inch Evelyn, She-Ra, which was actually something that what they made, and then Tila, and then there was like a more cartoony Evelyn.
Yeah, like where she was more yellow.
Yeah.
I also remember seeing a He-Man doll, and it looked like a modified. It had like it had elbow articulation. He had a power sword. He had the He-Man harness on, but he looked a little bit more muscular than a standard Ken doll did.
I don't know.
Believe it was at that same show. If I can find, I don't think I can find the picture for this. If I find it, I'll add it into the video when I edit. But I'll definitely share it with you guys if I can find it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I think it was from that same convention where they were showing those other ones off. But I feel like I remember seeing a He-Man Barbie at some point. But I could be remembering.
That's cool though. Adam, you said that was 2018 when they did all those Catra dolls and all that.
Yeah, and the actual She-Ra doll they did was 2016, but they showed her off again at the 2018 show.
Gotcha.
And did they release that one that they showed off back then? I know we just got the 40th anniversary She-Ra Barbie doll that they released.
Right. Yeah, that's
pretty cool.
That was recent. So I guess they've done 2 She-Ra Barbie dolls so far.
Okay. Oh, plus Ben, you were talking about the DreamWorks ones that they did as well.
So I traded with a collector or something at some point over the last 6-7 years. I got the Catra and the She-Ra. I want to say there was a version I have. It's like a 2-pack. I think they're connected. I think the box folds open like you're transforming Lego or brick style He-Man character. It's something similar to that. I would have to go dig it up and look. It's been a while. Unfortunately, none of my stuff is displayed currently. I'm eventually going to remodel my basement to house it all, but I got air totes everywhere. But there was also a DreamWorks thing. It was kind of that 2017-ish, 2016-ish Netflix version of She-Ra. And I don't think they were full dolls. I think they were kind of half dolls size, but I do remember I have them somewhere. They were definitely cool there. And there's only a couple characters that came out with that as well.
We've got them all up on the He-Man.org site.
Okay.
They did 3 She-Ras. There was like a She-Ra and Shadow Weaver, 2-pack.
Okay.
There was like a Super 7 She-Ra that had very little articulation. And then like a regular, DreamWorks Mattel She-Ra that was pretty well articulated.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to look at those games. I know I have a few of them. Again, I just kind of forget what I have it down in the storage area.
plus they did Battle Armor She-Ra from the show is with Swiftwind.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Very cool.
And you said those are up on the website for people?
Yeah, just go to the DreamWorks header, and they're all there.
Okay. Very cool. So, overall, as far as the Mattel Creations Revealed event goes, I think it was a pretty fun year just because we got so much representation for Masters of the Universe. Not everything speaks to me personally as something that I would want, but I still think it's cool that there was such a strong showing for the brand.
Yeah, totally. No, it's interesting stuff. Like I said, I ordered the Laser Power He-Man. The others I'm not gonna get, but I like to see it. I like to see what they're doing, and I'm sure there's an audience for all this stuff, and that's okay. If you buy what you buy, and that's totally fine. And if you're a Monster High person, there's something for you. If you're into James Jean art and you really need that figure, that's there for you. So that it's great that there's options.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I agree with that too. And I think that it was neat showing because there was 4 really distinct different things that were available. The Origins, the bricks, the Monster High dolls, and then the James Jean or John, the artistic side of it. We've noticed in the last few years there's been a few waves of artistic rounds of artists collaborating with Mattel, and it's cool. I mean, again, they're not for everybody. Somebody's going to really like both the artist or the brand, and maybe both, and they're excited. So not everything is geared towards every collector.
And that's okay.
And that's totally okay. You know, I'm not into some things, just like you're not into some other things. You know, but I'm an Origins guy. I love the Origins. I go all out on Origins, but even the art stuff, I don't usually get the art stuff just because it's the price point usually out of the range of my budget for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Somebody's going to buy them all, and they're going to be super excited.
Yeah. And you know, it kind of goes back to what I was saying. Like, I think just the fact that that Mattel is willing to expand into so many different areas with the brand, I think that's a good sign of brand strength. I don't see that as a bad thing, even if they make something that I don't like. Everything doesn't have to be for me. I've got plenty of stuff that I can put on my shelves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
People that get upset because something that they showed they don't like, you don't have to buy it. It's fine.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's your money.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's the show. We did want to speak briefly before we sign off. Yesterday was also the Walmart Collector Con. Is that what it's called? Collector Con? That was yesterday. That's the wrong one. Sorry. There we go. And so what was available on Walmart's website to order was the Gold Skeletor from the Core Collection. And he's officially called the Golden Edition.
Right.
Golden Edition Skeletor from the Core line.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So they had him up for order. He sold out almost immediately. I got on at 7 when it went live, and I wasn't able to get anything. And then they also had the Masterverse Vintage Collection Beastman, which we put screenshots of both of these up on the website on He-Man.org, and I think this Beastman looks incredible. I'd like to pick him up at some point. He looks really good. But yeah, those were the two items. Scareglow wasn't part of the Collector Con, but I do see that his page, he does have a product page on the Walmart website. Is that right?
He does, yeah.
I think he's listed as out of stock. I don't think.
Well, and that's just for the online stuff too. I'm seeing lots of reports of people posting on Facebook. The Gold Edition Skeletor, the Scareglow are on the shelves. A lot of people are seeing them on the shelves too. So they are available. They're not, if you missed out, there's nothing to worry about at the moment. Keep checking your Walmarts. They will show up.
I've been checking my local Walmart that's here in town, but they haven't carried He-Man stuff for a couple years now. There is another one in a town that's like 45 minutes away. I'm going to go check it out later today to see if they might have some, because they occasionally still have He-Man stuff that they put on the show.
Man, Cole has gas money and toy money. Man, what do you do for a living?
Nothing exciting. I farm, and it's not as glamorous as people think it is.
I'm just teasing you. No, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, hopefully you find it, because like you said, I've seen a lot of people online over the last 2 days, or I guess today is the 21st. So yeah, so 2 days they've been talking about like, oh yeah, they're on the shelves. Yeah. So that's different.
And I've seen people post pictures where there's just stacks of Scareglows sitting on the shelf. So,
and it's so funny because I have Walmarts in town. I live in the Denver metro area, so we got 40 Walmarts. I mean, in the metro area, and a dozen of them carry stuff, and a dozen don't, and then other ones are just random. You never know.
Yeah.
So I mean, you just got to poke your head around if you want to do some driving. If you live in a big like metropolitan area like I do, you might have better luck finding some of that stuff. But Denver's weird because sometimes we get a ton of stuff, and then other waves we get nothing. It's weird.
Dang.
So, but I love both these. I'm going to pick them up. I think they're cool. I don't know if I'm going to get every character of the line, but I think these two are home runs. I like the Gold Skeletor. I like the Scareglow. I think he's cool.
I love that Scareglow. I'm going to out you, Adam, but you said that you picked up, you bought a Scareglow from somewhere?
Yeah, just from eBay. Just, I paid the inflated rate. I really like the Scareglow, and I want to I want to compare him to my classic Scareglow. I don't think I've seen that online, so that's kind of what I wanted to do.
Awesome.
Sure.
I don't blame you at all. I've considered it going the eBay route because he looks great. We talked about it last episode, but if this is where the Chronicles brand is going to go after all the movie stuff, and I think the movie stuff looks great too, but if they're going to go into more of these traditional looking designs for the characters, I'm all for it. And not even not even traditional, because like there's a lot going on with this figure specifically that.
Yeah, this one almost looks like
Eternia vibe, almost a Mondo vibe to it.
Yeah, Mondo. Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
It's really
cool. I'm
really
real curious to see what they do with this, because it looks like I like the anatomy on these so much better than Masterverse. So like this if they do more like this, they're gonna get people like me who didn't get on the Masterverse train. So
definitely.
Did we decide if this is kind of the next evolution of the Masterverse? Or, I mean, I know there's not really an official word out there yet, but is this kind of, in your opinion, guys, the next evolution?
I feel like it is. I don't, I'm trying. Mattel has told us some things, that the Masterverse line isn't over. But I guess I feel like this is what we're going to be getting. I think this is what's going to, and this is me talking. This isn't He-Man.org talking or anything. This is just me. I feel like this is going to phase out Masterverse, and I just mainly because I'm not a toy maker. I'm not a marketer, so maybe I'm completely off base. But I just don't see why there would be two collector focused lines on the shelves for Masters of the Universe to compete against each other. If with Masterverse and this new Chronicles line, I just don't see them both coexisting.
I would agree.
Very long. Like
they've invested in this new, it's very similar size, but it's a new buck with better articulation, different. They've solved some problems from Masterverse. I don't know why they would do both at the same time, other than whatever few vintage collection ones.
Sure. Yeah, finish whatever they had in the pipeline. Finish that off. I understand that, but yeah, by investing into completely new tooling for these figures, I don't know why they wouldn't just go full steam ahead with this line.
Right.
Well, and the other way to look at it though too is maybe there's a strategy behind this. Maybe you build Collector Masterverse Series 1, Collector Chronicles Series 2, you're getting to half of the people that aren't buying these ones. Maybe their focus is we can hit both parties, but with two different lines that are very similar, but they're different.
Maybe kind of a divide and conquer strategy.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I'm not saying that's their ultimate strategy, but I mean, it's not unreasonable to think that they're going to go after the people that aren't buying those.
Sure.
Right.
With a different flavor.
Yeah, I mean anything's possible, and until we know more,
right,
all we can do is speculate, that's all we're doing. We're not saying anything official right now.
Well, we may not know this answer for 15 years either. They might say, they'll be like, oh, that was why we did that. They may come out a decade from now.
Sure.
But I agree. I think that's probably the writing's on the wall. That's probably going to move more towards Chronicles, but I mean, we could all be wrong. Who knows?
Yeah. But if this is where they're going, I like the direction where they're going.
Yeah, I do too.
I think a lot of fans would agree with that. Even, I'm a Masterverse guy. I collected a lot of Masterverse over the years. I really liked that line. I think I have more Masterverse than I have of Origins. But if this is where they're going to go with these Chronicles figures, that doesn't bother me. Like, I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree.
I like seeing new He-Man toys. I like seeing them evolve and become better He-Man toys over the years. And I think we've consistently seen that from the vintage era to the new adventures. The toys evolved, then to the 2000 era. The toys evolved, then into classics. Now we're in this modern era. There's not. Yeah. I like seeing things evolve as the technology improves, the toy technology. So why not?
No, I agree.
So, anyways, cool. I think that's everything we wanted to talk about today. We did it, guys.
Yeah, I think it was a great show. I think this was a lot of fun stuff to cover today, and I think there's going to be a lot of excited fans out there. This is hopefully going to build for another, foreseeable future. Hopefully, we're going to get many more years of these toys and collectibles.
Yeah, definitely. So we're in a good spot as He-Man fans. We've got a new movie coming out. We've got new toys.
Yeah,
I think we're sitting pretty comfortable, and that's a good feeling.
More Spirit of Grayskull podcast.
Yeah. We'll have more to talk about.
Yeah.
So
excellent, guys.
So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching us. We'll be back next month with another episode, and until then, good journey.
Good journey.
Good journey.